Welcome, everyone, to a long-awaited return of the APDL videos from me. I'm your host, JK, head coach of the St. Paul Steelix. We're not going to address the fact that it's been a very long time since I last put a video up. I think it was like season 14. We were making a playoff push. We were undefeated. That season ended with a semifinal loss to Noah. Super proud of that season. And then we went into season 15, which was the economy season, made the playoffs, had another good season, ultimately did not go very far in the playoffs though. So we're back today with the next iteration of ARC's Pokemon Draft League. And it's so very exciting. We are in squad season. So if you saw before on the image, I'm just going to swing back to it super quick. This is going to be our draft review for Johto region. We got split into 4 different teams this season, 4 different regions, each region having 4 different teams that are all playing together as a squad. And each week, squads will face off against each other and will be fighting for 2 playoff spots. So there will be still 8 teams that make the playoffs, but only 2 will actually advance. Only 2 squads will actually advance to play in the semifinal round. And then the finals is going to be spicy. It breaks down even further to within your squad. The winning squad of 4 plays against each other. You spend all season working up and helping each other out, hopefully qualifying together, helping team prep and doing all the stuff, and then just to turn around and face your allies as your enemies in the very end. So it'll be a very cool season. The St. Paul Steelix, like I mentioned, that's my team. We got paired with the Fargo Feraligatrs, coached by Measley, the Bumbling Bidoofs, which is Hoop 99, and our good buddies, Lanky Paul with the Edmonton Eiscues. That's Johto Squad. Just a fire group. Really excited to be a part of the squad with these boys. Johto region represent. So we're going to go into a little bit of a draft review for all 4 teams, not just my own team. So it might not be as detailed as what you're used to seeing from a draft review, but it'll also have lots of good nuggets and information. We drafted as a team or as a squad. And actually, Sean had an earlier draft pick, and then there was a few picks between, and then actually Hoop, me, and Peyton were all back to back. So we had kind of this like really nice flow for our draft, and it all started with round 1, and this being an Ubers league for the first time, I think ever in APDL. Round 1 was fire. Across the board, just like really awesome stuff getting taken. You see with all 4 picks will be on screen for each round so that we can kind of go through everything. And Sean kicked us off, Johto Squad, with picking Palkia Origin Form, which is absolutely nuts. Hoop grabbed the Nightmare itself and Spectrator. I went with the super bulky Lugia, and then Measley picked up Zamazenta, Hero of Many Battles. So just like right off the bat, you can tell with this season, the power level is going to be so much higher than it has been in the past. Being able to access Ubers and kind of like the full breadth of everything available in Scarlet and Violet is going to be really interesting. I think like the stats on these Mons are ridiculous. The abilities are nuts. The movesets are nuts. And these games are going to go really quickly. Noah played or has watched some other leagues that have used this format, and it's definitely going to be a little bit of a learning curve compared to some of the lower tier stuff that we have been using, or kind of like the mid-level power that we're pretty used to with APDL. So I think, just kind of early thoughts is these early rounds were really like teams going for, number 1, their Ubers, and then number 2, just like grabbing very impactful high tier Pokemon. We had 135 points to draft. There were some restrictions on what you could do for Ubers. There were platinum, gold, silver, and bronze. Combinations for what was allowed and what wasn't. A lot of teams grabbed 2 Ubers. We actually just picked 1 per team for Johto Squad, which let us have a little bit more flexibility with points later on, and drafting kind of like a higher average rather than being pigeonholed into like, well, 50 points or just 2 Pokemon. We had a kind of a little bit more spread out, which was kind of neat. And for most of the draft, we had kind of the most average point values left, which I think is really cool for us. It was a strategy that we didn't like come in saying that was what we were going to do, but kind of worked out that way, and we were really excited about that. So round 1, studs all across the board. Round 2, and this will be the only time you see my cursor moving forward. Round 2 was just as fire. So Measly picking up the Chi-Yu. In actuality, he drafted Darkrai and made some adjustments at the end of the draft and kind of like the special free agency period, like the grace period. So for all intents and purposes, Chi-Yu was Measly's second pick. I picked up Terra Heatran, which I think is going to be an awesome Terra captain, with Flash Fire to negate fire type damage, and being able to have that really like good offensive and defensive typing in Fire and Steel before Terra. Really, really good stats, and I think just like a bomb Terra captain, I think for my team. Who picked up Ting-Lu back from our co-op season days. Ting-Lu was a huge part of our championship winning roster when him and I played together, so cool to see him grab that. And then Sean picked up a great Terra captain in Clefable, I think, too. It's a really, really solid Pokemon, great abilities, good moveset, really good support. And I think like Terra on Clefable not only helps its already good defensive role, but also makes it a sneaky offensive potential. Like slap a Choice Scarf on it and fire away Moonblasts that are Terra Fairy could be kind of good. But I think overall, really, really solid second round. Moving into round 3. Definitely some offense picked up here from Lanky Paul and Hoop, grabbing Sneasler and Ogre Pong Teal Mask. Spoiler alert, Johto Squad has 3 of the 4 Ogre Ponds. So will that be a good thing or not? I'm not sure. You'll have to see. But the first of those went off the board here in round 3. I picked up Primarina as like a good kind of like piece to the Firewater, or not the, yeah, like a Firewater Grass core, but also a Fairy Dragon Steel core. Primarina seemed like it was a, I maybe overspent going with a round 3 pick early, but I think overall, really, really happy with it. It's great typing, good moveset, good ability, and just like a good bulky water type, which is always good for draft. And then Measly grabbed Screamtail as a Terra captain, so good luck trying to break through that wall, everybody. Screamtail is nuts to begin with, and then you give it Terra. I think that was an awesome pick for Measly. Moving into round 4, definitely some defense grabbed in this round. Lanky Paul grabbing Corviknight, Hoop grabbing that Tentacruel with Terra, I think is a super solid option. Great Rapid Spinner and Defogger for those guys too, which is great for hazard removal. I've used Tentacruel before. It's a great Pokemon, kind of underrated. I think having it be a Terra captain is really cool. I grabbed the second Ogerpon in round 4 here with Cornerstone. The Rock Grass type is kind of funky and I like it. It's a Spike Setter. Ivy Cudgel's a busted move. Just good there. And then Measly grabbed Arcaludon in round 4, which will be great offensively and defensively for him. Kind of doubled up on steel types for Measly, and you'll see that later on, but I think overall Arcaludon is such a good Pokemon, great moveset, and I think he'll be able to use it really well. Stamina's a busted ability, so some good defense for 3 out of the 4, and Cornerstone is like, it's not defensive, but it definitely felt like a good pick for round 4. Round 5, Sean grabs Torkoal as another hazard remover. So, your Rapid Spinner, Lava Plume, Sunny Day kind of stuff, which is cool. Hoop grabbed Gouging Fire in round 5, which is just nuts. I went back and forth with my round 5 decision, and ultimately Arc convinced me to go with Terapagos. He's looking for a spinner. Hazard removal at this point in the draft was like getting a little thinner than I would like. And just like Terra Shell, an insane coverage moveset for Terapagos, and just good stats across the board. I thought, you know what? I have become a believer in what it can do. And then measly grabbing Araquanid for, you know, water bubble stuff. It's kind of a neat pick for him. I'm really interested to see, like, does he use it as like a tanky offensive mon, or is it more in that defensive realm? I think it's a really interesting pick, and I've used Araquanid before, and it's really, really cool. Takes hits surprisingly well and has the offensive stats to dish him back out. So I think a really good round for us overall in round 5. Round 6, I ended up grabbing my second Terra Captain in Flygon. Electric immunity, ground immunity, Terra. Pretty good. You know, overall pretty good. Good stats. A dragon for my Fairy Dragon Steel Core with Primarina and Heatran. I was like looking at dragons to grab in these mid rounds, and it was either spend a ton or get stuck with something not super great. And I think like grabbing Flygon was kind of like the best I could do in that middle range for points. Measly grabbed Pecharunt, which will be a terror to try and get through. Measly drafted such a bulky team, and I did too, actually. You know, like I think there's a lot of things where like individual pieces of our squad team line up really well with like what we grabbed. And I love the Pecharunt pick here. Hoop grabbed Iron Crown, which is an awesome pick. Another photosynthesis mon where you know, you could have that booster energy and just go off on people. And Sean grabbing Meowscarada for some fast offense that hits really, really hard, I think is important for him. Up to this point, his team had been pretty defensive, and grabbing a threat like Meowscarada with protein is just a really, really good grab from him. Round 7, this is a double terror round for us. So Hoop grabbing Cryogonal, which is another one of those things where, you know, it's got Levitate and you can tear it to something that is immune or, you know, would be weak to ground, but doesn't have to worry about that, which is nice. Kilowattrel for Measly, I think, will be a pretty solid Terra Captain. Sean grabbed a Spin Blocker in Mismagius and, you know, a special fast offense there. And I grabbed Zapdos Galar, which is a mon that I think is super cool. I've never used it. I'm looking forward to seeing what it can do. I needed something that had like punch on like the top end of like the physical attack spectrum. And for 15 points, kind of where we were at in round 7, I think the Zapdos was going to turn out to be a good pick. It's really interesting to me. I think it's a super dope Pokemon. And actually in round 8, Hoop grabbed the other Zapdos. So Zapdos Bros here. Super bulky mon from him. Sean joined with another electric legendary and grabbed the Raikou, which I think is good for him. Fast special offense, you know, decent bulk. Peyton ended up grabbing Scizor. Technician Bullet Punch is always a good thing. You know, like I said, he doubled up on steel types a little bit, but with kind of the rest of his team and how he's positioned, I don't think that will be too big of a deal. And then I took Iron Moth. This is definitely, like, at round 8, I had, I think, 29 points left, and Iron Moth was 15. So I essentially, like, used half of my points on one of my last 3 picks. And I was looking for something that had elite special attack and, like, top-end speed. And Iron Moth just kind of fit the bill. It's also a grounded poison type that helps me soak up Toxic Spice if I need it. And like, I had a lot of good special attackers, but Iron Moth is a great special attacker. So really, really excited about that pick. Round 9, this is where the power level started to fall off for quite a few people, but I still think we grabbed some really good mons here in the last couple of rounds. Obviously, Terrakion for Hoop. Really, really great Pokemon. It's kind of all gas, no brakes offense. Gastrodon, super sick for Lanky Paul. I believe it was a Terra Captain too, so I forgot the little icon there, but I think that's also one of his Terra Captains, which is incredible. Really good abilities, really like sticky, thick Pokemon for low point values. Measly grabbed his spinner with Cyclizar, and then I grabbed the 4-point boy Mabostiff. I think it's a sneaky good pickup for 4 points. Intimidate, Guard Dog, Stakeout, all really, really good abilities. Good physical offensive stats. It's got decent, like not great bulk, but decent enough bulk. Fit the point curve really well to where I had 10 points left for my last pick. And also just kind of like rounded out what I needed for the offense. Mabostiff is going to be a mon that, like, you know, I might only bring 1 or 2 times, but I think in the games that I do bring it, it'll be impactful. So that's kind of what we're looking for at the end rounds here. And then last but not least, like I said, we grabbed 3 Ogrepons. Measly grabbing Wellspring, Hoop, a Terra Comfey, which I think will be cool. I'm interested to see how Comfey works in the singles format, but I think it's got some good utility. Sableye from Sean, great last round pick. Another spin blocker, really good support, Prankster immunity, and I think it has Prankster itself. So a really, really good pick there. And I grabbed an old friend in Galvantula. Somebody I've used, I think maybe twice before. Like this was a comfort pick for me. Looking back at like what I had left in the tank for points and what I needed, fast Volt Switch is always good. And I didn't have Stab Electric without Terra, and I thought Galvantula, you know, fits the bill. Sticky webs are always something that my opponents are going to have to think about. And even though the moveset is a little narrower, Galvantula is something that I've used before and really enjoyed using before, something I'm comfortable with. So that was our last pick. So to end all be all, here is the squads. Yeah, I've got the Terra symbols next to Clefable, Gastrodon, Tentacruel, Cryogonal, and Comfey, Heatran, Flygon, Screamtail, and Kilowattrel. Those are our captains for the Johto Squad teams. And I think looking at these 4 teams, our squad is really, really well set up. I think there's tons of offense, even in some sneaky forms on this. I love the bulk that our teams have. And I think, you know, with our team building and kind of working together, I think all 4 of these teams are going to do really, really well. We've got a tough week 1 matchup against the Kanto squad, and that's, you know, Sauce, Arc, and forgive me, but I forget the other 2. Just a really, really tough first week matchup. All of these matchups are going to be really, really difficult, and I'm excited about the format and what we can do for season 16 here. So definitely let me know who out of the Johto teams you think drafted the best. Tell me who you think drafted the worst. What's your favorite Pokemon out of the 40 that are on screen? And yeah, just really appreciate your support moving into this next season. I think Noah and I are playing our week 1 game like in a couple of days. So team building has already started and things are happening very quickly, which is exciting. I'm going to do my best to get back into the content grind and make sure that there's weekly uploads when we have games, and try and do a little bit more consistency, try and keep the videos a little less complicated, so that it's a little bit easier to keep up with making sure videos are up. So that's the Johto Squad. Hope everybody loved the video. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the YouTube stuff. Check out the other coaches' YouTube channels. I'll link those down below as well. I think a lot of people are getting back into content this season. So thanks so much. Go Steelix, go Bidoofs, go Eiscues, go Feraligatrs, go Johto Squad, and welcome back to the APDL.